Yo, what's up? It's Major from Ada's Dream, and today we're gonna go over how I make my sexy naked lady candles. Let's go. Alright, we're back again. It's Major from AdasDream.co, and today we're gonna talk about how I make my naked lady candles. But before you do, can you please like and subscribe to the channel? It's gonna help me bring you awesome content, and awesome content. Okay, let's go. So as you can see, I have everything that I need. I got my casing for the naked lady, and this casing here, you're gonna put your wax on the inside. Before you do, you are going to add your wick. So I take my thermometer and I add the hole at the bottom to fish my wick through here at the top. It's not too hard, too difficult. You just got to play with it. Once you create your hole, you slide your wick down through the bottom and up through the top. And what you have to do is measure out your required amount of wax. So we're going to do that now. The correct amount of wax that I use is 255 grams. Also, the type of wax you are going to want to use is pillar wax. If you use soy wax, your naked lady candle will break when you take it out of the case. So you have to use pillar wax. Pillar wax is a lot harder. So once it dries inside of your case, it will not break once you start to take it out. Always got to use pillar wax. You do not want to use soy wax. Soy wax is for actual candle vases. Okay, so I'm going to measure out my required amount of wax, which is 255. You always want to measure out what you're using. I have 77, 156, 236, 257, which is good enough. So now that I have my necessary amount of wax, I'm gonna go over to the pot. And what I like to do is called a double boil method. You put it in here, you set this inside of another pot inside of water, and which I'm going to do now. Okay, now that I have my wax almost finished, I have to get my vase ready or my molding ready that I'm pouring the wax into. And just a reminder, you don't want to pour the wax into a cold mold. You don't want to pour the wax into a cold mold, because what happens is it'll get bubbles on the outside of the wax, outside of your naked lady, and it won't look good, and your customers will get it and they'll never buy from you again. So you always want to warm up your mold to prevent the bubbles on the outside of it, because if you're pouring hot wax into something cold, it's going to freeze the outside texture, just like if you was to walk outside from a warm or hot house into cold weather, your skin will be aggravated. It's the same thing with wax. So what I like to do to get my mold ready, I have a hot blowgun, and you simply just blow inside of the mold. Blow on the inside and around it. You don't have to do this for too long, but you want to do it consistently. Keep away from your wick. Try to keep it away from your wick. Okay, so now it's pretty much good to go. Okay, now I'm gonna pour my wax inside of my mold, And you're gonna pour it nice and slow. Okay, now we're going to wait until our mold dries. Usually I let it dry for at least, I give mine about 3 to 5 hours before I take it out the mold. So once we finish with this waiting period, we're gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to you and explain the demolding process. Okay, so now we're gonna go over the demolding process. So when you take a candle out to demold, before I go over that, I did add fragrance oil to my candle wax. Usually I wait until the candle wax reaches a temperature of 180 degrees Fahrenheit, and then you can add your fragrance oil to it and you mix it for about 2 minutes. And once I mix it for about 2 minutes, I let it get down to about 170 degrees Fahrenheit, and I pour it into my candle mold. So now we're gonna go over how I deprocess with my candle mold. I do have a wick holder at the top, a metal wick holder, so it can hold my wick at the bottom of the candle mold. And it's pretty an easy process. Remember, you want to use pillar wax. You want to use a molding type of wax, because if you use soy wax, your mold is just gonna crack and break in half. And the pillar wax, it has a nice, it gets harder, easier. So when you demold it, it doesn't break. So I just take this, fold it down. Remember, I'm using pillar wax, so I'm not really worried about it breaking. And you just gotta play with it. Eventually, it's gonna pop right out. You just keep pulling down the mold, pulling, pulling, pulling. Once I get to a certain point, I can come up here to my mold and extract it, pull it right out, because I'm not worried about it breaking in half. It's so hard. There we go. And now it's out of the mold. Nice and smooth texture. Nice and smooth texture on the body. No bubbles or anything. Remember, on your mold, you want to heat it up with your blowgun. So when you pour the wax into it, it doesn't create those bubbles on the outside texture. So now that's how you get it out. And as you can see, here's one of the finished sexy lady candles. So thank you for tuning in. This is Major from Ada's Dream. Peace.